sign off or memorandums of agreement, whatever's required. We'll have the proof of it before I bring this back.
Very good. Would anyone else like to speak regarding President Street and the proposal? Thank you. And Steve, please keep us apprised. Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Bell Napoli. Thank you, Snyder's. Thank you for investing in Troy. Don't leave us, please, and we'll figure it out. Okay, you have a good councilman. All right?
The water's good
And
in Troy.
colleagues.
Right, Mark?
The what?
The water's good in Troy. It's good in town.
Hey, Bill Pascarella drank from it. Remember the Hudson River?
Hey, talk about
Thank you so much. We will close the first public hearing. Thank you again. Please tell Maria I said hello. Okay, Dom? Tell Maria I said hello. All right, beautiful. Do you have a motion to adjourn? Motion, Councilman McGrath, second, Councilman Bodnar, all in favor?
Aye.
And for the record, I would like to say we did have a full council at this public hearing. Thank
I
you.
think that's a motion to close the public hearing.
Correct. Yep.
Sounds like it.
All right. We will open the second public hearing. Councilman.
Mr. President, I'm the council to resolve itself into a committee of the whole for the purpose of conducting a public hearing.
Beautiful. Clerk, can we call the roll and then we'll do a pledge of allegiance?
Councilmember Gully?
Here.
Councilmember McGrath?
Here.
Councilmember Bodnar?
Here.
Councilmember Doherty?
Here.
Councilmember Kopka? Councilmember Donahue?
Go.
Councilmember Sullivan Tita? Councilmember Ash McPherson?
Here.
Council President Mantello?
Here.
9 present, 0 absent.
Beautiful. I would ask Councilman Doherty to lead us in the pledge.
I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right. Patty, if you could read the publication.
Please take notice that pursuant to section 1411D3 of the Nonprofit Corporation Law, the City Council of the City of Troy has scheduled and will conduct a public hearing on December 7th, 2017 at 6 p.m. in the City Council Legislative Chamber, Troy City Hall, 433 River Street, 5th floor, Troy, New York, 12180, in conjunction with the following matter. The City of Troy proposes to transfer a certain parcel of land located at 144-46 4th Street, the parcel being more particularly described as TMID number 101.61-7-22 to the Troy Local Development Corporation, TLDC. The City Council will, at said time and place, present the terms of the proposed transfer of the parcel and provide a reasonable opportunity to all interested persons to present their views, either orally or in writing, on the location and nature of the parcel and the terms of the proposed sale thereof to the TLDC.
I'd like to recognize our Commissioner of Planning and Economic Development, Steve Strikeman. Thank you for joining us, and take it away. Do you have a map or no?
There are maps on the memo that you have, but the only map, the only issue here is the 4th Street parking lot next to Key Bank between
We
Ferry.
don't have the memo.
Can you bring them
Oh,
down?
bummer. Okay. Jace, let's make some quick copies, please.
They're here, they're on the back, they're in the back.
They're in the back table. Thank you.
Should be. And it was what was presented in the initial call for public hearing. So basically what we're talking about is transferring to the Local Development Corporation the 4th Street parking lot between Congress and Ferry. And that is because at the time we knew, at the time, we knew that there would be developer interest in the Key Bank building that would likely want to get this parking lot as well. There is a developer looking at the lot, at the parcel right now. So the intent of this is to be able to allow any developer to actually go through the process of doing the due diligence on the land to make sure that they can properly develop the Key Bank parcel. And again, as we outlined The transfer to the LDC would only occur when and if suitable parking in the area to offset that parking is obtained. So it would be a like amount of parking or a similar amount of parking in that immediate area. So the transfer would be concurrent with the parking lot would go to the LDC and then to the developer. The parking lot that they attain would be completed and go back to the city. Any funding that the LDC gets for the sale of the parking lot would either go into the creation of the parking or, well, it would go into the creation of the parking. Nothing would be refunded to the city. In the end, the city would have the same amount of parking as it started in an immediate area. So the developer is trying to put together that parcel right now. Nothing will happen until that occurs, but it gives the developer the opportunity to move forward. I have talked to the majority of businesses in the area, everybody across the street, the restaurant next door, Sunhees, Manneries, explained to everybody what this is and that it would not mean a loss of parking. I mean, maybe 1 or 2 spaces, maybe not, but that it would be a similar amount of parking for the neighborhood. So that is the intent.
And I guess the biggest question, probably the most obvious, Steve, why would the city transfer it to the LDC and just not run it as a parking lot?
Why would the city transfer this to
Right.
allow it to become part? It's a smoother mechanism to have the LDC work with the developer to be able to incorporate that into the Key Bank development. And that's the other piece I didn't mention, was it would only be used for the Key Bank development. If somebody buys Key Bank and uses it as is, and doesn't need this parking lot, it wouldn't be used, it wouldn't transfer to the LDC. So it would all be concurrent, the city council would have everything right in place, and then all the transfers would be simultaneous. So it's an easier mechanism for the LDC to be able to do that. And the requirement is that there's a public hearing outlining the intent of the plan.
Councilman Bonder, what do you think, just transferring it to the LDC, should we sell it to the LDC and then just let the LDC deal with the developer? I'm just throwing it out there.
Well, I think that until
I don't think your mic's on, sorry.
the lot is really needed by a prospective developer, I think that we should, retain the option to continue to use it as a municipal parking lot. I'll be honest, like most of us here, over the course of my life, I've driven by that location probably 10,000 times. I never knew that was a municipal parking lot.
And the LDC really doesn't want to own it.
I used
They
to
don't
work
wanna
on
make-
that corner, I didn't know it was
So we don't want to have to go
On
through
the
a memo.
corner?
like submarines, 1967.
Oh my gosh, give me a Neva.
On the corner of, no, we didn't have it. Back in the old days. I'm sorry, Steve. I
Yes.
cut you off.
Okay. No, Steve, I guess the big question is, so the city owns it. I guess some people didn't even know the city owned it. It's a municipal parking lot. It's connected to the Key Bank development. If your proposed, or LDC's.
It could be connected to the development. And if it's needed, we want to be ahead of it instead of having to wait until the end. Nothing will happen unless it's needed.
Councilman.
Council President, I see this as a smart business move. I mean, you never know who's gonna walk into that square, and if we have something on the table that needs that property, this would be a good program. I don't know much about the LDC buying it, because I don't think they wanna own it if they can't put it into the deal, but certainly leave it open maybe where there would be a purchase price if it did go to the LDC, so that it could be optioned out that way. In the same way they're looking to hold it, we could also hold off on what we would think the value is.
I didn't follow what you
Councilman.
just last said, so
I
what was
said
the
it.
conclusion?
Bob, the conclusion is that I think it's a good deal to go forward on with the option of maybe selling it to the LDC if it becomes part of that parcel for that project that they want, in lieu of giving it to them. If there's a value there, if it's a project, there's a value there. And if that's the case, then that property holds a value, and we should recoup that value for the city residents, and then they can move the project forward.
Yeah, I'm not asking questions. I don't think anyone's saying it's not a good deal, Councilman. I think the big thing is, Steve, is
So,
there a
If I may, this is
preferred-
only a public hearing.
Yeah.
let people talk. All these discussions that we're having right now will occur in the future. This is just a public hearing so that people can talk about what's good about it or what's bad about it in the public.
Well, and also, we just want to understand what's being proposed, obviously.
Right.
So would anyone like to speak regarding the 4th Street municipal parking lot next to Key Bank? Yes, sir, please. If you could just state your name and your address, that'd be great. Thank you.
It's Bob and Maria Decker. We're in Clifton Park right now. We're in the process of purchasing 84 Ferry, and this in a roundabout way seems to tie into that because there's a vacant lot neighboring that property, not the alley, but it's vacant between us and the taxi. And it's my understanding that
Wait a minute, where are you? You're
84 Ferry,
Yep,
between that building and the taxi,
got
there's a
it.
vacant lot.
Yep, got it.
That was up for bid. The woman who we're buying 84 Ferry from bid on it, I understand.
This round, correct?
No, this vacant lot.
No, the round of the Ferry Street property, I believe, is tonight.
Oh, I don't know.
Okay, I believe it is. Okay.
So should I hold on?
No, please.
Because it's the same
all
developer
tied
that's
in.
looking for
No, it's
this,
all tied in.
for this 4th Street parking lot?
Yes.
It's my understanding that he also won the bid for this vacant lot.
Got it.
And I'm trying to understand, because it's bordered by sidewalks, how he would use that in the future for parking. And our deal with this woman, the land, who owns 84 Ferry, that if she won the bid, it was part of our deal. It's not contingent upon that, but it would have been advantageous to us. We were retail store downstairs, my wife is a caterer, and to use that for an outside seating area, patio area, instead of just parking, and to enhance the area. So that's, and I'm concerned with why it went to the lower bidder, not the higher bidder. I understand that our woman bid $1,000. It went to the developer who bid $500, I believe was in the paper. So that may be a separate issue that is going to be dealt with later, but we valued that piece of property to enhance our business as well, so. I don't know if you want to address that now, or-
I appreciate this, because now this is all clicking, because
Okay.
when we talked about this at the prior finance meeting, 86 Ferry, 163 Fourth, the Key Bank, and the parking lot
Yeah.
are all connected together.
Right.
And that's where I really wanted you to go with this, Steve, just so I could get a visual of what exactly is being pieced together, just so we know, because we're being asked to sell 86 Ferry, 163 Fourth, and then at some point transfer the Key Bank parking lot to Rosenblum, obviously, is interested. It's all good. I'm just saying to piece that together so we know what we're kind of walking into, so thank you. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Want to piece it?
It's always bad to talk
I'm not
publicly about
saying-
any economic development. I mean, I think
I
you can
get
piece
it.
it together.
I
I
get
don't
it.
know what the deal will be at the end. I don't know what they're gonna put together, but obviously they're looking to try and make something happen.
Councilman?
Steve, is that property on Ferry Street, is that a killer live deal on that project? Is that something that has to be purchased by
Well,
that?
I think in order to, there's a lot of pieces that come together to make this happen. It's hard, there's not a lot of land, there's not a lot of parking. So in order for them to put something together, they gotta move a lot of chess pieces. And those are probably 2 of the 4 chess pieces.
Council
2
President.
of the 5 chess pieces.
Councilman McGrath?
When you guys are now, who was in the meeting to sell the properties? Who was in the meeting?
Were you
No.
there, Councilwoman Lynn?
I was.
You were there?
Councilman?
Well, I guess my question is, was this discussed?
Right.
I mean, were you aware of this, that there were, that,
Yes.
that this gentleman here would also bid, or the woman, and they were gonna develop it also?
Council President.
Councilman
I'm just
Foley,
saying, I'm asking a question.
we're just looking for info.
We
Thank
were
you.
aware of the fact that there was a higher bidder. We were also given indications that that piece of property was important to strategically put this deal together for the Key Bank corner. We didn't know, however, that it was another commercial business that was applying for that purpose. At least I didn't read that in the bid. So I wasn't aware of the full facet of what was gonna happen there, but we were aware of the situation with the dynamics of putting that larger deal together. And at that time, that seemed to be the smart move.
Councilman, did you want to add anything? Because you were at the meeting also. Right?
Well, I guess, I'm the councilman in that district, and the two-block area, going down Congress, and then down to, down Third and Ferry, along those corridors, there's been a tremendous amount of development in the last 4 years. Beginning with the brown bag, and that corridor was very dark, poorly lit. We reduced the foliage, we increased the lighting. The kitchen opened up, the Korean restaurant opened up on Ferry. It was successful. The shop opened up in that same block area. So we've taken an area that was essentially dark and uninviting, with some history of criminal activity. And we've moved it significantly in a commercial interest as well as the resident. And the development, putting together a development project at that location is going to continue, as the Troy Kitchen did. And so what we've seen is an area that's greatly increasing. The economic development discussion as a part of our discussion in selling property talked about a future-oriented, serious development, and I believe we should support it. We've seen momentum, and now to have this level of interest in what formerly was not a well-used area in the district, it links the downtown progress further into South Troy and Little Italy. And there are other projects further down on Fourth that are also approved and in planning. And I think it's a very bright future for that area. We should support economic development. So when they bring a package in to put together an attractive package for a developer, I think we need to work with them. Thank you.
No, and you were at the meeting, so that's why I asked that. And, you know, as someone who rented over on 4th Street, over by I Love, it's a tough corner, and hopefully we can move that momentum south.
And one other thing I forgot to say, the person was asking about the highest bidder. We used to sell our properties to the highest bidder, and we've changed our priorities to assure that nearby residents, people who are going to contribute to the fabric of the community, people who are owner occupied get preference. So it isn't just a matter of money, it's a matter of getting the best neighbor, the best use of the building in a constructive way that's going to affect us. When we did sell to the highest bidder, we were attracting out of the area people who would purchase property, hope that the appreciation would happen and they'd make money. They wouldn't pay taxes, and we'd have the same property back in 4 or 5 years. So we don't only look at money. We look at, does your mother live next door? Is this going to be something that contributes to the flavor of the neighborhood and the use of the neighborhood? Thank you.
Thank you, Councilman. And, you know, on that note, obviously, you know, I do agree that the highest bidder is not always the best. But I guess my last question would be, and we have someone else that wants to speak, Rosenberg backs out, say, just by chance. Where does the parking lot go? Where does Ferry? Where does 4th Street? And, you know.
Well, the parking lot stays with the city, and the LDC, and the agreement is in place that the LDC can take it to facilitate another development. The other properties, I can't answer that.
Yep. Okay, please, name and address, thank you. Hi.
Hi, my name is Richard Kiernan. I live at 82 and 80 Ferry Street in Troy. And Mr. Doherty, I'm glad you said that. What you said before about people not necessarily giving it to the highest bidder. My neighbor is Yolanda. She owns the house that is next to that lot. When she got the letter in the mail, she called me. And she said, Rich, I got this letter. She's an older person. And she said, I got this letter for the piece of land next to my house. I've been here 45 years. Her husband just passed away last December, right before Christmas. And she said, if you would like this piece of land, you could have it. I said, Yolanda, no, that's fine, you know, but why don't you bid on it? So I went down here and I inquired about it for her. And I spoke to 2 different people and they said, well, this is what you have to do. I said, great. So I told her, and I told her to bid $500 on it. She bid $1,000. And about 3 weeks ago,
I'm all right.
That was Steve Strikeman's head. So if he turns around and says, don't sell it to the developer, you know, he hit his head.
so about 3.5 weeks ago, I got a call from the Alt. I guess it's a newspaper or
Oh, okay,
something. And
yeah.
the gentleman asked, he wanted to know what I thought, but I didn't, you know, he sent me an email, I didn't answer him. But, and then the following couple of days, there was an article in the paper that these brothers bought this land. And I just thought to myself, now wait a minute, I agree with you. You said we like to give it to people who are in the neighborhood. These folks here I've known 15 years. As Bob said, his wife's in the catering business. They've been catering they've been in the catering business for a long time. They want to do the same thing, but they have this little piece of land. I mean, if you drove by and saw this piece of land, you'd laugh at the discussion that we're having about this.
Right.
And I can't imagine that this developer here needs this little piece of land. I mean, it's almost absurd that it's so small. The bank already has the parking spot. They want to, and then there's like a little metal fence. They want to go
I know
over
that
that fence and take that piece of land as well. I'm just putting the bug in your ear so you can like visualize what's going on.
Go ahead, Councilman.
What are they gonna do with the land, you know?
Yeah, like he said, Yolanda is in the purchase, is in the process of selling the house. They want to put
A patio.
a patio on the side there, so people can come down in the neighborhood and sit down and have a cup of tea or a cup of coffee and be comfortable out there, as opposed to,
No, yeah, I'm confused.
Go ahead, Councilman. Yeah, I am too.
So you live on one side,
yes, sir.
and what are you gonna build the patio on? Do you own the building?
We're in the process of.
Purchasing,
And
Oh,
this
you're
lot-
purchasing a building there?
84.
84 Ferry.
Oh, okay.
The piece where the land is here and the house is butting up against it.
Right.
There used to be a house
I'm
there
from,
that knocked
I'm from
down.
Lansingburg, I have no idea what you're talking about.
Okay, so you're right next to the 86 that Rosenbaum's putting the.
Yeah.
And so that's the vacant lot,
It will be
86.
owner occupied.
Yeah, we'll be there.
Right.
Okay, and you're buying from a private
You're
developer, right? Or a private
I can
person?
Right now.
Okay.
Wait a minute.
Now, I guess the question is this small piece of parcel critical to the development? I mean,
Well-
these folks, can't we do
And
both?
again, this is probably a discussion you should have during the city council meeting when we talk about
All
this
right,
property.
we will.
And yes, it is. It's multiple pieces, it's a puzzle. So it's not just that piece.
We need a bigger map than this black and white thing. Can you,
Okay,
like,
and again, this is the
seriously?
public, yeah, this is the
Yeah.
public hearing.
But for the
Right.
meeting, you know,
Well, you know what? If you're gonna, if we don't know about it.
we're not gonna vote on it.
well, I'm-
All
Right, and then again, this is just a public hearing.
No.
Yes.
I'm gonna pull it,
right.
all right, because, I don't know. You're saying one thing, and I agree with you.
Yeah.
They're saying that's what they wanna do. You guys went to the meeting and you only heard one side.
Right.
So until we get all the
This is
information.
happening live.
Oh, okay, I'll make the amendment when it comes up.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Thank you for enlightening our eyes. Okay, any further public comment? All right, we're gonna close the second public hearing. We're gonna go right into finance. I'm gonna ask Jason to